Can I save my patron's Will Scion of Peace deck? Let's see. Will is the complete opposite of Rowan, who reduces the cost of white and blue spells based on the life you've gained rather than the life you've lost in Rowan's case. Another unplayable Azorius commander in cEDH, right? One of my favorite Azorius brews in the past is Grand Arbiter Augustin Beats, where the idea is just Arby's helps us cheat all of our white-blue spells by 2, improving the rate of our cards, as 5 Fairy is a way more broken card as a 3-drop rather than a 5-drop. And by playing powerful blue-white beaters at a cheaper rate with stack interaction and stacks, Arby's gets the meats with beats. So is Will gonna be the same thing? Are we gonna use life gain to cheat awful blue-white cards to somehow break parity and beat the table? I didn't believe in it until the patron brought up this line. Big idea is to gain 6 life, then slam Approach of the Second Sun. Remand it, then approach again in a well-timed window. Now, isn't that interesting? We can use consistent life gain as mana reducers to now gain access to a fast and cheap Approach of the Second Sun, and win either through a remand effect or just using Sensei's Top or a scroll rack. So today's video is 3 techniques I use to refine this Will deck to be something powerful. The first and most important technique is building towards the commander and not the colors. If you watch my recent video on Hilda, I talked about the concept of designing your deck to create situations where your commander is unfair, and I apply this thinking to every commander deck I work on. I try to work out what are the play patterns that really elevate the commander's abilities, and dial into those strategies rather than play cards that are just powerful in the color pair. This meant cutting combos the patron initially had. A lot of Azorius decks feel like they're pushed to play awful A+Bs, like Thoracle Thoughtlash or Lavinia Knowledge Pool locks, because they're trying to create parity with how other cEDH decks operate, which have powerful A+Bs like Thoracle Console. The problem is creating parity is not playing to the strength of the color nor the commander. That is trying to just make the color do something it can't do as well. And we know blue-white does not have great A+Bs, so why force it when we have a commander that can help you do something else? This is where the technique comes in. Identifying that Will turns life gain into cost reducers or pseudo-rituals for my Stormbrain friends lets us cheat mana value through the cost reduction to do something other decks cannot do, such as winning with Approach of the Second Sun and Remand for white-white-blue. The second technique is understanding the deck's line of play and honing towards those lines. What this means is just having a general idea of how this deck should play out. And initially, I recommended cheap Soul Sister cards like Soul Warden as low-cost ways to gain life. But let's think about what we're trying to do here. We want to gain life to play a big spell or a lot of spells, and control the table while we're getting closer to our win. Understanding the deck's line of play suggests that I was incorrect to recommend cards like Soul Warden, as the deck doesn't play enough creatures, and even if it did, casting a bunch of creatures to gain life ends up being a color-intensive way to achieve the ritual effect, which negates the whole point of playing those cards. This leads me to explore different sources of life gain, like Umezawa's Jite, Martyr of Sands as a big burst of life gain which acts as a pseudo-ritual, or leaning more towards cards of lifelink like Hushbringer to gain life for free. Cards like Angel's Feather or Kraken's Eye are also powerful in this deck, as you're able to gain life off of your opponent's cast on your turn while you're attempting a win, as every blue spell on the stack reduces your subsequent spells by 1. Having a clear idea of what your deck wants to do and refining your cards to support this plan will help you cut a lot of cards that are generally useful in the color, like Windfall or Elishnorn, Mother of Machines, and find unique cards like Zurin Orb or Tablet of the Guilds that helps you make your commander a little bit more unfair. The last technique is focus on what's interesting. This is somewhat tied to the first point of build to the commander, not the color, but the idea here is that we both know that Will's Scion of Peace isn't Tymna Crom or Rograk Silas. Yet when we're brewing decks like these, There are some strategies or cards that you get to play that are unique to the deck, and we should find ways to curate our cards to make sure we actually focus on what makes the deck fun and unique to play with. This is why the Approach Reprieve combo is really interesting to me, as Will allows you to play those cards cheaply and become a unique combo line. And if we focus on how our deck operates, which is gaining life passively for 0 to low mana costs and casting big spells, we can supplement that strategy with secondary wins like Heliod Ballista or even just an Aetherflux Reservoir, and make the deck really interesting to play. At first, I wasn't interested in Will at all, but after seeing my patron's interesting line, I got more and more excited to refine this deck. Also, I wanted to give them a shout out for a cEDH event they're running in Seattle called cEDH 3 or the Fall Brawl. If you're in the Seattle area and want to compete in it, feel free to check out the link below in the description or this QR code right here on this screen. If you want to check out other fun Eldraine commanders in cEDH, you should definitely watch Hilda for another highly unique blue-white commander, even if she's terrible in cEDH. Or you can check out Real's sister Rowan and see how much easier Rakdos has it. Thanks for watching. Bye!